Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If it is your first time being here, hello, my name is Kim. I am an author, illustrator, and here on my channel, I love to create content about books and writing and just all around cozy lifestyle. Today, friends, I bring you a monthly favorite of mine, and that is the video where I get to share the books that I am reading for that particular month. I cannot believe that it is already March. I started having a little mini panic attack yesterday when I realized that March was literally the next day, and I started feeling so nervous because I just thought that I was losing time and the year was going by so fast. So whenever I have those moments, I just like to sit down and make a list of all the things I've been able to do since the year started, all the amazing books that I've read already, and that usually just calms my anxiety. So yesterday I did that, and needless to say, I felt a lot better. So friends, like I mentioned, I am picking out the books that I will be reading for March. I have a goal every month to read at least 4 books minimum, and so far I have been meeting those goals. In January, I read 7 books, and then in February, I read 5 books. So every time I make these kinds of videos, I always just pick out 4 books, and I usually go from there. I kind of eyeball it as the month goes. And if I feel like I am finishing up the books that I said I was going to read, then I just keep adding to my stack. So with that being said, I already picked out 2 books that I'm going to be sharing with you. Well, I picked out 1, and then the other one, it's kind of like a rollover from last month. When I picked out my February books that I was going to be reading, one of those I did not get to read in February. To be honest, I completely forgot about that book, and next thing I knew, the month was almost over because there was only 29 days in February this year. And I was just like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to read that one in March. So that one's a rollover. And then every month I like to give myself the leniency to go and pick out a book that I want to read. So I already picked that out. I have them right here. And then the other 2 books, because we're picking out 4, the other 2 books I'm gonna be picking out for Mr. Fox here. Oh, his hat is on backwards. There we go. There we go. For those of you who have never met Mr. Fox, this is Mr. Fox for obvious reasons. And they are also my handy dandy TBR jar where I have all of my unread books, all of my physical unread books. So that is what Mr. Fox holds. So I'm going to be picking out 2 from here. So without any further yapping, let's get into this video and pick out the 2 books that I'm going to be getting from Mr. Fox here. And then I will also be sharing the 2 other books, one that I went ahead and picked out for myself to read in March, and the other one that is a rollover from February. All right, friends, so let's get started. Let's start off with Mr. Fox first. That's always very exciting. I will say that for the month of February, Mr. Fox did give me some really great book picks, and I was super excited about that. Oop, I thought one fell, but no. I was super excited about that, so I'm really hoping that we get a good little bunch here. Give him a good little shake. Let's see. Oh, okay, so one fell already. Right here. What does that say? An American Sunrise. These are poems. Okay, so for folks who are new here and you did not know this about me, I absolutely love reading poetry. I actually first got into reading through poetry books. And from there was no stopping me. I started getting into other genres, but poetry is always going to be near and dear to me because they were my first sort of reintroduction to reading. So I am so excited. I will grab this book as soon as I pick out my next book that I'm going to be reading in March. All right, let's give it another quick little shake and then get in here. There are 2 stuck. Okay, we got The Dark Lord Clementine, which I know exactly which one this is. This is actually a middle grade novel, and I bought this solely off of the book cover, which I will show you in a little bit. I was shopping around in the middle grade section and I came across this book, and it was just so cute, the book cover, and I bought it solely off the book cover. You will see in a second. Okay, so we got The Dark Lord Clementine, and then we have An American Sunrise. So let's go look for those 2 books over here on my bookshelves. So from what I remember, An American Sunrise is a black cover book, so I'm assuming it should be somewhere in here. Oh, I see it over here. Okay, here it is, An American Sunrise. And then Dark Lord Clementine, I believe, is like a blue cover. Oh, there it is. It's right here. Okay. Okay, friends, so here are the 4 books I am going to be reading the month of March. Let's start off with the poetry book because I am very excited for this book. This is An American Sunrise, poems by Joy Harjo, who is the poet laureate of the United States, I believe currently, or I believe last year that was. Yeah, last year. The little blurb on here says, a nationally best-selling volume of wise, powerful poetry from the first Native American poet laureate of the United States. In this stunning collection, Joy Harjo finds blessings in the abundance of her homeland and confronts the site where the Muskoki people, including her own ancestors, were forcibly displaced. From her memory of her mother's death to her beginnings in the Native rights movement to the fresh road with her beloved, Harjo's personal life intertwines with tribal histories to create a space for renewed beginnings. The very aligning thing about this and why I'm so stoked to read poetry is because, first of all, I have not read a poetry book in quite a while, and so that's very exciting for me. And second of all, lately I have been really feeling the urge to come back to my roots. Ever since I started sharing creatively my work online, I started off with illustrations and poetry with small little quotes and just sharing all of that online. And from there, I just started building my audience, and I really started to discover what it was that I wanted to do with my creativeness. And I always told myself that I wanted to write a poetry book. And then, of course, I was introduced to do other amazing projects, which was to design book covers and to do other forms of creative things, but it wasn't necessarily to write a solely poetry book. And I've been on this journey for quite some years now, and lately, for the last, I want to say month, I have been really sort of, I guess, coming back to my roots in a way where I've been craving to just sit down and do the things that I first started to do when I started sharing my work online, which was to just write poetry and share little doodles and illustrations to go with that poetry. And this just comes at such a good time because, like I mentioned, I have not picked up a poetry book, I want to say in maybe like in over a year. And also on that same note, I have been wanting to just sit down and write poetry. I used to go to little cafes and put on my headphones and just see what kind of comes up and write poetry. And I really miss those days. Life got busy. I started getting really excited about other amazing projects that had nothing to do with poetry, and I sort of lost sight of that. And now I feel like I'm coming back to those same roots and sort of finishing what I once started. It's very exciting. So I am very excited to read this. This was really highly recommended by my sister. My sister, I think, picked this up from what I remember, and she told me to buy it, and I did. So I am so excited to read this. Now my next one is The Dark Lord Clementine by Sarah Jean Horwitz. You guys, look at that cover. It is so cute. I did not even know what this was about, and I was like, I need to get that because that looks so cute. I think I remember this being about a villain. So our villain is like the main character in this story, which I love to see. I don't read a lot of stories about villains, and you know, it's nice to mix it up. And if you know me, if you've been here for a while, you know that I love a good middle grade novel. So this is a middle grade. It says, the new face of big evil is a little small. Dastardly deeds aren't the first things that come to mind when one hears the name Clementine. But as the heir of the infamous Dark Lord Elithor, 12-year-old Clementine, more serious, has been groomed since birth to be the worst evil overlord she can be. Then everything changes the day her father is cursed by a mysterious rival. Now Clementine must take on the full responsibilities of the Dark Lord, but when it's time for her to perform dastardly deeds against the townspeople, including her brand new friends, she begins to question her father's code of good and evil. I cannot wait to read this. I love a good villain possibly turns good trope, so I'm here for this. And again, you guys, the cover, I really appreciate covers that look more like sketches, or that they actually hired a book illustrator to design this and not like one of those cut and paste book covers that you can do on Canva. I really appreciate it when publishers go out of their way and hire book illustrators because it keeps us employed, and they always the books just look so much more cuter in my opinion. Okay, so those were the two that I got from Mr. Fox here. So let's move on to the book that I allowed myself to pick to read for the month of March. So I am a big cozy reader. I love reading cozy fantasy. I love reading feel-good books, and I have been on my fairy hype. I read an amazing fairy book in the month of February that I'm gonna share soon once I do my February wrap-up video. And I just wanna consume everything about fairies. I told myself that for the month of March, I was going to read Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. I am not sure when this came out, but I have seen everyone that I follow who is also a cozy fantasy enthusiast highly recommend this book. They say this is a cozy, high regency fantasy book about fairies. And once I heard that, I was like, enough said. I am convinced. If this is gonna give me cozy fantasy Bridgerton vibes, I'm here for it. Matter of fact, I might even start off with this one my month of March, just so I can really get into the reading mood. Because in my opinion, in my head, this is already like a 5 stars. The little blurb on here says, it's difficult to find a husband in Regency, England, when you're a young lady with only half a soul. Ever since she was cursed by a fairy, Theodora Eddings has had no sense of fear or embarrassment, an unfortunate condition that leaves her prone to accidental scandal. Dora hopes to be a quiet, sensible wallflower during the London season, but when Elias Wilder, the handsome, peculiar, and utterly ill-mannered Lord Sorcier, discovers her condition, she is instead drawn into dangerous fairy affairs. If her reputation can survive both her curse and her sudden connection with the least liked man in all high society, then she and her family may yet reclaim their normal place in the world. But the longer Dora spends with Elias, the more she begins to suspect that one may indeed fall in love even with only half a soul. Okay, so our main character, Theodora, only has half a soul. I wonder what that means though. Can you function okay? Does that mean your lifeline gets reduced to a shorter time? Does that mean you only have half the feelings, half emotions? What does half a soul mean? Like, okay, now I'm freaking out. I didn't think about that. It's making me itchy. I don't know why. I guess we're just gonna have to find out what half a soul means. But I've read that this is a very cozy fantasy story, and I am in the mood of cozy because we're in the transition of going from winter to spring. So I'm assuming this might give me that. I don't even know what season this is based on, but I don't know. The cover looks kind of spring to me, so I was like, let's throw that in our March pile. So that is Half a Soul. Now the book that I am rolling over from the month of February that I didn't get to read in February is The Dictionary of Lost Words by Pip Williams. I am actually very excited to read this book, but for some reason I just sort of completely forgot about this. And also I had some tough things happen in February that this kind of just went to the back burner for me. But I am nonetheless very excited to read this. I believe this is a historical fiction novel based in the early 1900s in Oxford, England. And this is about a family who are lexicographers whose job is to collect words to complete the first edition of the Oxford English Dictionary. And our main protagonist, whose name is Esme, works closely, I believe, with her father, who is the lexicographer, and she sort of follows his footsteps, but instead she starts collecting words to create her own dictionary. And this dictionary is the Dictionary of Lost Words, words that have gotten lost to society, to history. I read that this is actually very lyrical and has beautiful writing, so I'm adding that to my bunch as well. You know what, friends? I kind of feel like picking out another book from Mr. Fox here because I've been doing so well with keeping up with 4 books that I feel I can for sure read 5 books. So let's do it. Okay, let's do it. All right. I'm pretty sure I could do it. I could do it. I could read 5 books. I could read 5 books. I read 5 books in February and there was only 29 days. So I'm sure I could read 5 books for sure this month. Let's see. Ooh, this is a big boy. The Alchemy of Moonlight, which is right here on my desk. The Alchemy of Moonlight. You guys, I am so excited that this came up because look at this cover. It is so good. Okay, this is The Alchemy of Moonlight by David Ferraro. All I know is that this is, I believe, a queer fantasy story about werewolves and maybe also some high regency society as well, considering how they're dressed. But let's see. It says here, in this queer Gothic romance, a young marquise caught between freedom and passion, honor and love will have to unravel a centuries-old curse to find his own happy ending. Okay, it says here, trapped in a world of straight expectations, queer Marquise Emile longs for independence. So when his aunt declares he must marry to produce an heir, all Emile needs to do is keep his head down and bide his time, but he quickly stumbles into a mystery beyond his imagination. While working in the service of the intimidating Count Montoni and his family, Emile learns that they suffer from a strange affliction every full moon, which requires full sedation, and when he discovers a mangled corpse on the estate the same night as suspicious family arguments break out, he reports it. But Emile cannot guess what lengths Count Montoni is willing to go to keep his family secret safe. As Emile becomes more entangled in the household and its paranormal origins, his inquiries draw the attention of the handsome Dr. Brahm and the Count's charismatic nephew Henry. But how can Emile earn the esteem of the earnest doctor while keeping his own identity and desires a secret? And how can he trust, let alone love, Henry, a man as mercurial as the ever-changing moon? To find the love he deserves and survive the Montoni family, Emile will have to risk his title as well as his life. So I am excited to read this and get into some werewolf stories. All right, friends, so quick recap. We have The Alchemy of Moonlight by David Ferraro. We have our rollover from February, which is the Dictionary of Lost Words by Pip Williams. We have Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. We have The Dark Lord Clementine by Sarah Jean Horwitz. And we have An American Sunrise, poems by Joy Harjo, who is the Poet Laureate of the United States last year, I believe. Okay, so this is my cute little book stack. I am so excited to get into some books this month, friend. Let me know down in the comments below what books you are reading for the month of March. Let me know if you want to see a reading vlog on any of these books. I would love to do a reading vlog on some of these, but let me know which ones you are interested in me reading and sort of documenting the whole journey, and I will for sure do that. So with that being said, friends, thank you so much for being here. I would very much appreciate it if you engaged with my videos, if you liked, subscribed, commented. That really helps out my channel and it goes a long way. Your support means the world to me. And remember, friends, that you can create the life that you want because you so deserve it. I will be seeing you all in a video very soon. But for now, friends, take care, happy reading, and bye for now.